We don't know, but we know. Hi, everyone. My name is Daniel Hirsch, and welcome to the Middle Path Podcast. So, I'm going to be recapping and commenting on the Candace Owens controversy of late. I'm going to be doing a series about this. So, in this video, we're going to tackle the beginning of Candace Owens's comments on the Charlie Kirk assassination. And this series is going to be for people who like and dislike Candace Owens, because my goal is to recap everything she has said and to comment on it. Now, for those of you who are not completely aware of what she has said, this is going to be the perfect series for you, because I think that there's been so much said about the Charlie Kirk assassination, and Candace has said so many things that many people are just saying, oh, these are conspiracy theories. There's nothing to what she's saying. Other people are saying that everything she's saying is right. Obviously, there's a conspiracy, and I think it's time to tackle this head on. I think we have to look at all the evidence Candace is providing, and we're going to have to judge for ourselves whether or not it is convincing. Now, the second thing I want to mention is that I have to acknowledge this. I am Jewish. Now, I think it's important that we all acknowledge our biases before we even begin the conversation. So, I am Jewish, and because I'm Jewish, I have certain biases. I don't like it when people criticize my people. And I think, though, that it's important to criticize, even though we don't like it. The third thing I want to mention is I don't believe anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. So let me make that clear. I am Jewish, and I'm an Orthodox Jew, and I don't believe that if you are anti-Israel, you are anti-Semitic. I don't think we should be using the word anti-Semitic anymore. I think that it has been overused, and similar to how racism has been overused when critiquing the Black community, I think that anti-Semitism has been overused when critiquing the Jewish community, or the Jewish state, I should say. I think it's okay to make critiques of a state. I think that every state has their issues. I think every country has their issues. And I don't think that if you are against Israel, you're against Jews. I don't believe that. And I think it's important to mention that. My goal in this series is to be honest, be open-minded, and open to criticism. And I would like to review the situation as honestly as possible. I think that many people, when they don't acknowledge their biases, they tend to really embrace their one-sided view of things. And I think my goal is to try to avoid that. And I would like for you guys to let me know in the comments whether or not you think I am doing a good job of that, so I can be better. So let's get into it. So the first thing I want to mention that I found interesting, actually, is that recently, Grandmaster Daniel Naroditsky, chess grandmaster, passed away. And many chess streamers made YouTube videos about his passing, friends of his. And most chess streamers that I watched demonetized the videos where they discussed his passing. And I think we can all understand why. Because most people don't find it to be a good thing to monetize someone's death, especially a friend. So the first thing I want to say is that Candace Owens has a major incentive to spread controversial theories and to gather as big of an audience as possible, because she did not demonetize her videos. Now, I think that that is wrong. That's the first thing I want to say. I think she should have demonetized her videos, especially the first one about Charlie Kirk, because I think that she shouldn't be profiting off of her friend's death. It just seems wrong. And the second reason why I believe that it's wrong is because it disincentivizes you to follow the path of truth, and it incentivizes you to follow a path of controversy and a path of publicity. So the thing is, though, is I do believe, I want to get this out of the way, I do believe Candace is being honest. I don't think she's lying, and I think that's why many people like her. That's her biggest appeal, because she's authentic. I think she's very authentic. I think that she believes in what she's saying. So let's take a look at this was the week after Charlie Kirk was murdered. And this is the beginning of Candace's video. So she published the video on Charlie Kirk, mourning him, talking about him, which I thought was very nice. And immediately after that, she posted a video discussing, and the first thing she discussed was Israel. Very interesting. She discussed Bibi Netanyahu, which is surprising. So let's take a look at this.
Because a great human being has been taken from us. Was an extraordinary friend. He wrote me a letter on May 2nd this year. He said, "One of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances to defend Judeo-Christian civilization." A few weeks before the tragedy yesterday, I called him and I spoke to him and I said, "Please come to Israel." I invited him to Israel. And sadly, that visit will not take place. But he was a defender of our common Judeo-Christian civilization. He was unbelievably excited to walk in the footsteps of Jesus here. He valued our bond, the bond between America and Israel. He did so many things to defend free speech. He had his truth. He stood up for it. But he said, you can come and debate me. He invited that debate. He certainly didn't invite the violence, the horrible violence that tried to silence him. And, this is a worldwide problem. The people on the extremes, the Islamists, the radical Islamists, and their union with the ultra-progressives, they often speak about human rights. They speak about free speech, but they use violence to try to take down their enemies, whether it's President Trump, who's been almost assassinated twice, or, they try to kill me here too. But they got Charlie Kirk, and it's just heartbreaking.
Who is they, Bibi? Who is they?
So just, I think when Bibi is saying they, he's referring to the left of America.
Who got Charlie Kirk? We don't have to actually speak conspiracies. I'm just wondering, because you said a lot there, but it really sounded like it was about Bibi trying to establish a narrative that we saw reinforced by a lot of people, that, Charlie kind of made it almost sound like he died for Israel. I mean, Trump's account even tweeted out a photo of Charlie and an American flag and also an Israeli flag, a bit of AI used, like this is just who Charlie was. He says Judeo-Christian values. He spoke to him 2 weeks ago. Again, you would think he was busy fighting this 97,000 front war, but no, he's letting you know that he just randomly, picks up the phone and calls Charlie Kirk and invites him to Israel? Why would Bibi do that? It seems like maybe there's a little more to the story. No, there definitely is a little bit more to the story. First and foremost, that letter he is holding up, he is severely misrepresenting. Those sentences are real, but I am calling upon Bibi Netanyahu, the dear friend to Charlie Kirk, to publish the letter's entire contents. Like, don't start with just 2 sentences. Publish the entire thing. You're holding it. I'm saying you're severely misrepresenting the contents, that in May, Charlie was concerned about Israel and their influence on American politics and how they were pushing things that he felt were in conflict with his beliefs, free speech here in America. Bibi's holding it up like Charlie just in May said, hey, you know what? I just want to write a letter.
Okay, I think that's all we need for that. So what just happened? Okay, so Bibi gave a speech about Charlie Kirk. how much he liked him. And then you have Candace Owens basically saying that's extremely odd that Bibi would do that. I don't think it's odd that Bibi would do that. I think Charlie Kirk was extremely pro-Israel while he was alive. I think that that's a very normal thing, that if you have a person in another country who's supporting your country tremendously, that you would be sad and you should speak about the person that died. And I don't find anything odd about what Bibi said. Candace does. And you hear how she said, oh, there's more to the story. That's a clever tactic that will engage viewers. But I don't think Candace is on purpose trying to use tactics. I just think it's her personality. And I think that just from watching the Bibi clip, I personally don't see anything odd about that. Now, she did mention that she wanted Israel to release the letters that Charlie Kirk sent. And they actually did release that. And I'm going to pull that up for you right now. Okay, here we go. So Charlie Kirk says, Dear Mr. Prime Minister, one of my greatest joys as a Christian is advocating for Israel and forming alliances with Jews in the fight to protect Judeo-Christian civilization. Okay, so this is basically a letter where Charlie is just really pro-Israel, and he is talking about the and he's talking about how Israel is losing the social media war. And he gives some advice, a few advices. I think he gives 7 points of advice. He goes, here are some unsolicited recommendations my team and I suggest. If you're open-minded to communications, reset. Okay. And then he finishes off the letter saying, in my opinion, you are losing the information war, which will eventually translate into less political and military support from America. The Holy Land is so important to my life, and it pains me to see support for Israel slip away. Feel free to contact me on my private number below if you would like to discuss this further. Sincerely, Charlie Kirk. So I think that this letter really only shows that Charlie was pro-Israel, shows that he was trying to help Israel, shows that the Holy Land was important to Charlie's life. And currently, I am not aware that Candace Owens has brought this letter up and discussed the full contents. She wanted them to be released. They were released. And to my knowledge, I don't think she has discussed this. If she has, you can let me know in the comments. But right now, I don't believe she has. And I would ask her, why hasn't she spoken about it? And the simple answer is because it doesn't agree with her narrative that Charlie was changing his mind about Israel and that he did not like Israel. So I think it's clear from this that he did like Israel. I think it would be important for her to talk about it, because she should not just be talking about things that support her narrative. She should be talking about things that go against her narrative as well, to give an honest review of the situation. Now, I want to talk about the next video she posted, which was about the indictment of. Now, I want to talk about the next thing that she posted, which was about the indictment of Tyler Robinson, and she raises questions about the whole situation. And I want to just show you a couple examples of how she talks and what type of evidence she brings, her style of providing evidence. And let's take a look at that.
People are involved. First and foremost, they say that a lot of information should be able to be discerned by his devices because he was, according to them, deep web. Okay. This is the person that is deep on the internet. They said that he was quite reclusive, that he was always on his devices, that he's always on the web, and that there should be more information that comes from there. Okay. He turned 22, they told me, back in August, and that.
Okay, so what Candace is talking about is she's talking about the boyfriend of Tyler Robinson. His name is Lance Twiggs. So Lance Twiggs, his family said that they find it odd that there wouldn't be more information about Tyler Robinson since he was very much onto the web. This is an example of evidence that's not, I mean, like, you can say that, maybe there should be something more about Tyler Robinson on the internet because he was on the web, but like, not really at all, because if he's trying to plan an assassination, why would he be telling people about this? So I don't really understand what she's saying. That's the truth. And I listened to this whole video and I'm trying to grasp I'm trying to get her evidence of like, what is like wrong with the story, with the narrative, the feds. We're going to talk more about that as the series continues, but it's going to be difficult. Well, at least for now, it was difficult for me to find the clear-cut evidence that she brought. So I'm going to give you another example of something she spoke about.
Body, because if I don't feel good about what we're hearing, okay, and Lance Twiggs' family doesn't feel good about what we're hearing, and we've got Decoy Boy, who's apparently involved in some deep internet stuff, I would say. It's a fair way to describe it. Decoy Boy, okay, George Zinn. There's more people involved. That's what I'm going to say to you guys. There is very clearly more people involved, okay? This feels to me like a conspiracy. And am I emotionally invested in this? Yes. Somebody said something to, oh, you're unstable. Yeah, you know what? You're right. I have been destabilized by watching Charlie Kirk catch a bullet in his neck and then being gaslit and told nothing to see here. We've got people all around him that are telling little lies. I don't like this, okay? This doesn't feel clean to me. I need timestamps. If you're going to be transparent, be transparent. I'm not saying that you're being dishonest, that you have these text messages. I am saying that I need them in my timeline, okay? And it is just weird that you're giving exact times.
What Candace has just spoken about is she's saying that she wants timestamps for the indictment of Tyler Robinson, the text messages that he sent between him and his boyfriend. And so I have that. I'm going to bring that up for you right now. Here we go. So basically, in this indictment, you can find this online. Just Google Tyler Robinson indictment PDF. Here are the text messages between him and his roommate, and discussing how he did this whole thing and how he planned it and how he engraved the bullets and how he wrapped his rifle in the towel. And there are no timestamps. She wants timestamps, but like I said, type of evidence Candace is bringing is not, at least so far in this investigation of this series, so far I haven't seen anything real. I'm sure we will get to more real evidence soon. Now, right after this, but you have to understand that this is the beginning of the entire situation. She's already thinking that there is a conspiracy, and she says this. We just saw her talk about this. She believes there's a conspiracy. She said that she's emotionally invested. Look, I told you, Candace is honest. She is emotionally invested, and I think that she definitely wants there to be a conspiracy, and I think that let's take a look at what she says further on in the video. She already begins to discuss how donors were pressuring Charlie before he died, Jewish donors, for Israel. Now, I think that's important because that is, while probably true, this is probably true. I think it's a fact. Jewish donors were pressuring Charlie Kirk to support Israel. While that's true, I don't think that has anything to do with his death right now. I don't see the evidence that has to do with his death. Why? Because I'm sure a lot of people were bothering Charlie Kirk all the time. That doesn't necessarily mean that they were involved in killing him. Now, I think it's odd for Candace to be bringing up the fact that Jewish donors were pressuring him a week after he was killed. So the beginning of her video is that things are weird about the Tyler Robinson narrative. Then she immediately switches to Jewish donors were pressuring him. That implies that they were involved in killing him. Again, I wanted to make it clear that I think that if Israel were to kill Charlie Kirk, wouldn't it make more sense for them to target somebody who's actually anti-Israel as opposed to somebody who might be changing their mind? Let's just say it's a given. Charlie was changing his mind. He was not sure where he stood. Why would they target him? Why would they kill him? Wouldn't it make more sense to kill somebody who's actually anti-Israel right now? The motive doesn't seem to be there. But I want to take you to Candace, this next clip of Candace.
Is pouring off of both of them. I was someone who spent my life, my political life, defending Israel. Didn't really mean anything to me. It seemed like a good, argument on its surface that we should support them. They're the only democracy in the Middle East. Okay, now I know that that's not even true. But like, who cares? I was just like pro-America, and I wanted to focus on BLM and getting Black America better. And then that happened. I said one thing, and suddenly, like, woo! It was like they just line up. Like it's like Agent Smith. Okay, it's like Agent Smith in the Matrix. How many can there be all saying the same thing? And then they gaslight you. They make you think you're crazy because they're like, why don't you understand why what you did is really wrong? I remember this. I remember the tweet. I said, no person, nobody, no nation anywhere in the world has a right to commit genocide. And I was suddenly being flooded with messages from people, Dave Rubin. I remember this. I was like, what did you mean by that? And then they're texting me, it's like, we can help you. You can help me what? I said something that made sense. Like, this should not offend anybody. Nobody has, genocide's not cool, right? Did something change? Where was I? It's when you tweeted it. And like, you could have been.
Okay, so here I think actually that Candace is right. I think she's right. I think that people are petrified of criticism of Israel. Anybody who's pro-Israel does not want Israel to be criticized at all, ever. And I think that she's right. It's bad that we don't let critics of Israel. I think it's bad that we think that anybody who criticizes Israel is anti-Semitic. I don't think it's true. I think you can be against the state of Israel without being against Jewish people. I don't think anti-Zionism is anti-Semitism. I don't believe that. And I think that she has a valid complaint here, that if you don't comply with complete approval of Israel, then you're going to be targeted by those people, targeted not in the sense of being killed, but targeted in the sense of they're going to try to silence you. I think that's valid, and I think that's something that actually should change. I think that should change. So the thing is, though, is while that's true, I don't think that has anything to do with Charlie's murder, because while it's true that there are critiques we can make of Jewish donors in the US, I don't think that they would kill Charlie because he was changing his mind about something. It just doesn't make any sense to me. And this is what Candace is implying by first starting her video with, there are things wrong with the narrative. Tyler didn't act alone. And then Jewish donors, this is what they did to me before. This is what Jews do. So I'm not going to accuse her of being anti-Semitic. I'm just saying that I don't see the connection. And let's keep going on this journey to try to find out the truth. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.